hands in the audience? Okay, we're gonna get this thing rolling here. We've got a couple of mics here for questions. I see you guys are already lined up. You know the drill by now, right? All right, so a little bit of Q&A up here, and then we'll pitch it out to you guys. So let's get this on the road. All right, you know him, right? From movies such as Saw and Twister, and of course most memorably as Wesley in The Princess Bride. And I don't know if you know this or not. Also,
thank you.
And also upcoming, he's going to be on season 3 of Stranger Things.
This crowd. That's awesome. Thank you. What a reception. Thank you. I need to come back to Tampa more often. Thank you. This is pretty darn great. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I know we're going to get a lot of Princess Bride questions, but I'd like to ask a couple just to start out.
Okay, sure.
I mean, it was a pretty physical production, from what I understand. A lot of injuries, Christopher Guest was stabbed. You had a mishap.
Yes, yes. You guys have probably heard about my mishap, but for those of you who haven't, I actually I got quite a few injuries on the set. But the biggest injury I got was here's what happened. Andre the Giant. I give it up for Andre. By the way. Really was. He was the epitome of a gentle giant. 7'4", 450 pounds of love, of pure love. And I always tell folks he would give you the shirt off his back. It'd be enough for 10 people and give it to you anyway. And that's how he was. But he had great difficulty walking around because he had his spine was in a lot of pain from being in the wrestling ring for a long time, and he couldn't get around very easily. And so when we were shooting the scenes up in the Derbyshire Peak District, where I shot all my scenes with him and with Buttercup rolling down the hill, he couldn't get up there on the set. So the production manager asked him, said, Andre, how do you get around on your farm? He had a farm in North Carolina. He said, Andre, how do you get around on your farm? And Andre called everybody boss, which is hilarious because you have to talk to him. Andre told the production manager, he said, I use an ATV, boss. Like that. Now, if you've got any phone reception here, cell reception, take out your phones and Google image Andre the Giant and all-terrain vehicle, or ATV, and you will find a picture of Andre beaming sitting on the only all-terrain vehicle in the United Kingdom in 1986. We need to find it. It's a three-wheeler. Have you found it? It looked like the tricycle from Saw underneath. All right? And Andre didn't just use it to get up to the set. He was so happy to be on this thing, he was going around all day long, and it was very loud. So you would see Andre on the horizon going on this thing, about 12 people chasing him, trying to stop him. He thought that was very fun. Yeah. So I was preparing to shoot the scene with Buttercup on top of the hill, where we get into a discussion about her being married to Humperdinck. And he comes up to me on this thing, and it's very loud. He comes up and he goes, hey boss. I go, hi Andre. He goes, you like my toy? You know where this is going, right? I said, it's very nice, Andre. He goes, it is very nice, you want to try it? I said, Andre, well, I'm shooting a scene. He didn't let me finish my sentence, and he just took off. Like that. So I shot the tape that I needed to shoot with Robin, and as we were preparing to set up for the next angle, he comes back. And you know what he says to me? He goes, "You know you want to." He's a 7'4" giant. You don't want to argue with this man. So I said, okay, sure. Dumbest thing I could have said. I took off my mask. I thought that would help. I'd have better peripheral vision. And he got off it, and it went up another 8 feet. And his bodyguard, he had a bodyguard, I swear to God. I asked the guy, I go, "What are you guarding him from, the flu?" Ridiculous, like 5'4". "Oh, it's very easy, Governor. It's just like a motorbike. Clutch pedal, brake, on-off switch, accelerator, Bob's your uncle." That should have warned me right there. So I get on this thing that I had no business getting on, and I put it in first gear, and I lurched forward, and I didn't get further than 2 feet when I went over a rock, and I caught my left big toe between the clutch pedal and the rock, and it snapped. It was like a clean snap. It was amazing. If you've ever broken a bone, it's incredible how quickly and clean it can sound when it happens. And what's amazing is when you break a bone, all your sweat pores immediately go into, just starts flop sweating immediately. So now I'm freaking out, right? And the set nurse comes up to me, running up to me. She goes, "Oh, what happened? What happened?" And I go, "Oh, it's nothing, it's nothing." She goes, "No, let's have a look at your foot." I said, "No, you really don't have to." She goes, "Yeah, I think we should." So they take off my suede black boot, very tenderly, and then they take off my sock, and there's my toe, and it's pointed in the wrong direction. It's got all the colors of the rainbow. It's really amazing how many colors that can happen in your body. Anyway, she looks and she goes, "Ooh." Which is not what you want to hear from a nurse. She goes, "Ooh, look at it, it's broken." And I was pretending to be the Black Knight from Monty Python and Holy Grail. I said, no, it's just a flesh wound, it's nothing. She goes, "No, it's broken, look at it, it's pointed in the wrong direction and everything." I said, "Well, it's probably not doing too great." She goes, "It's definitely broken." I go, "Well, can you fix it?" She goes, "No, I'm a step nurse." And she opens her bag, she goes, "I've got something for a headache, I've got something for a tummy, I've got nothing for broken limbs, I've got to go to the hospital for that." And I knew that if I went to the hospital, I wasn't coming back because, we're a week into shooting, and I'm playing the Dread Pirate Roberts, and I haven't even shot any fencing scenes or anything, and I thought, I'm going to be fired for sure. So I said to her, please, is there any way you can do something? And God bless her, she said, "Well, I think I can make a makeshift splint." I said, "Great, let's do that." And she grabbed a twig, I swear. She pushed the toe back in the right direction, which didn't hurt at all. And then she took out some tape and she taped it to the other toes. She said, "That makes sure it will stay there." Now it was all swollen and the boot wouldn't fit. We had to cut a hole in the boot and now they're sliding it on. And now I have to go back and shoot the scene with Robin. And I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? So I get in the van to go up the hill, and it was the longest journey I'd ever taken. I remember the set nurse was in the back, and she turned to the first AD and she goes, "I think he fell on his head as well." Get to the set, and I figured, I'm just going to pretend it's not a big deal. I'm just going to deal with the pain because I can't get fired off this movie. I'm having such a good time, I'm so blessed to have it. I can't get fired. So I get out of the van, I put all the weight on the foot. Right? Didn't hurt. And I walk up to Rob Ryan, the director, and Rob's standing there, scratching his beard like this. And he goes, "Hey, Cary, how you doing?" And I'm thinking, he can't know. I go, "I'm fine, Rob, how are you?" He goes, "I'm good, but how are you doing?" And then I knew that he knew, right? And I said, "Rob, I'm so sorry. I feel like such a twit. I was fooling around on Andre's all-terrain vehicle and I went over a rock and I think I broke my toe." He goes, "You think I don't know? I'm the director of the movie. It's been on the walkie-talkie for the last half hour. Why didn't you tell me?" I said, "I'm so sorry, Rob. I thought you'd fire me." And God bless him. You know what he said? He said, "Cary, I can't fire you. You're the only Wesley there is." I almost put a tear in my eye. said, oh, Rob, you're too sweet. He goes, don't worry, can you walk? I go, yeah. He goes, can you run? I said, it'll be an interpretive dance. And God bless him, he said he would move the fight scene, which was due in a couple of weeks. He said he would move it to the end of the film. So that was great, because it gave me time to heal. But I learned a valuable lesson that day, which is that all-terrain vehicles are not toys, as Andre so quaintly put it. And it's always better to tell the truth right away. So God bless him. If you look at the scene where I'm running into the fire swamp with Buttercup, and I say your pig fiancé is too late, you can see my interpretive dance right there. And when I lay down on the log and put my arms behind my head and talk about, you guys know the like better than I do, but when I talk about Humperdinck, and I cross my legs, I cross them in the most ridiculous way, like, tenderly, you know? And Rob came up to me after the take, he goes, the way you crossed your legs in that seat, oh, that's right, the broken So there you go. That was my mishap on the set. Never touched an all-terrain vehicle since.
So, speaking of Andre the Giant,
yes,
I've got to ask about this. I was a wrestling fan growing up, and I heard a lot of Andre the Giant stories.
Yeah.
There's some wild Andre
Oh my
stories
gosh.
out there. One of those that kind of makes the rounds
His first day of working.
His first day of working in the film. What are you talking about?
Absolutely. First day working with Andre was not the scene where he throws rocks at me. The first day I shot with him was the storming of the castle with Mandy. Okay? And he and they built a fake parapet castle wall. And they built it so you could see Florin Castle, Humperdinck's Castle in the background. And we were in the foreground on this fake set that they built, and they built it out of plywood and plaster, and they painted it to look like an old castle wall. And it had little steps. And there were only a few crew that could be up there because it was all wood, steps and stuff. So anyway, we get up there, and Rob said, let's just shoot the rehearsal, which he liked to do. So we get up there, and you guys probably know the lines better than I do, but it starts something like this. I think Fezzik says to Montoya, I wonder how long before it takes effect. And that's about the miracle pill, right? And I think Montoya says, your guess is as good as mine. And then I come to and I say, I'll fight you both together or I'll beat you both apart, something like that, right? Yes? Yes, thank you. And then Fezzik says, I guess not very long. Like that, right? Well, he didn't get to the word long when he let out the most monumental fart. No, this was a giant's fart. Not a giant fart, a giant's fart. 450 pounds worth of gas coming out. Somebody timed it. It lasted 16 seconds. No, for real. It was so loud. It was so loud, the sound guy lifted his headset up. The whole plywood set shook for 16 seconds. 16 seconds. Think about that for a minute. It was honestly, it was incredible. So, to this day, I still have tinnitus in one ear. And you know what's so funny? In England, you know, it's so great. Here in the States, when you fart, somebody was just like, dude, open the window, man, you know. Right? In England, when someone farts, they all get very weird. They're like, oh, it's a rain. They get very weird about it, you know. But in this case, it was so loud, the fart, you could be heard in Beijing, that when it was over, after 16 seconds, there was absolute silence. I mean, honestly, all the birds stopped, everything. It was like that scene in the film where he goes, everybody move, you know, and everybody just stops. It was like that, exactly like that. And Rob Reiner broke the silence. It was literally 30 seconds of shock from everybody, shock and awe, right? And Rob said this is what he said, I never forget. He goes, hey, Andre, you okay? And you know what Andre said? I am now, boss.
yeah, if you want to hear more crazy Andre stories, recommend that check it out.
Definitely.
There was just so many great actors and characters in that film.
Yeah. Great cast.
Wallace Shawn, of course.
Billy Crystal, Chris Guest.
I hear, of course, the scene that character now, that the line "you're inconceivable," that's like one of the key lines. That and
As
right?
Right.
I've heard that Wallace Shawn was he was kind of nervous about it.
He was nervous. He was afraid, believe it or not, Wally, Jeff, was afraid of being fired too. Yeah, which is so weird because I don't know if any of you know Wally Shawn, you know him from this film, but do you know his work at all, any of you? He's a playwright, he's written a lot of movies. He wrote My Dinner with Andre, and he's a wonderful playwright. He's a scholar, he speaks like 3 languages, writes essays, he teaches American and English literature. In fact, while we were shooting, he was invited to go up to Oxford and Cambridge, and he told me, he goes, I make a lot of money doing this. Actually, he was invited to go and speak, and he's really, I mean, he's perfectly cast in this role, right? Of Vincini, because, when he says, Socrates, morons, it's true. When it comes out of his mouth, you believe it, Aristotle, Socrates. Anyway, so he gets to the set, and I only had the one scene with him, which is the Battle of Wits, right? And I'm out there in the moors with him, and I see him sweating. And in England, the temperature never gets above like 20, And I'm thinking, why is this man, always the smartest guy in the room, why is he sweating over this little scene? I know he has most of the dialogue, but he's a playwright, and an author, and a scholar, and a Fulbright scholar, I think. And I'm thinking, why is he sweating over this little scene? Well, I didn't know at the time that he thought he was going to be fired. His agent had told him, I found this out later, his agent had told him that he wasn't the first choice for the role. Isn't that amazing? For any agents out there, don't tell your clients that. It's not a good thing to tell an actor. Because he was convinced that he was actually standing in for another actor. His agent had told him the real person that Rob Reiner wanted was Danny DeVito. And he took it to heart. I know, isn't that awful? And the poor guy, he was wandering around the set. He would go up to Chris Guest, he goes, well, I'm just standing in for Danny, I didn't even unpack my bag thing, I'm just, standing in. And everybody was like, what are you talking about, He went up to Rob Reiner and he goes, why'd you cast me in this role? I'm not even a Sicilian, I'm a Jew from New York, why'd you? And Rob said, because you're funny. When you laugh, your whole face turns red, it's funny. And to this day, I don't think he realizes how great he is in that role. And I know it's inconceivable, right? But check it out. He told me, he goes, Cary, you got it very lucky. You have those 3 words, as you wish, which means I love you. He said, you don't understand. I hear inconceivable probably 500 times a day. He goes, if I drop my keys, if I miss an elevator, if somebody beats me to a cab, if they close the gate at the airport, that's what I hear. So if you walk up to Wally and you say that word to him, don't be shocked if he's completely nonplussed by it. Because he turns to me and goes, the strange thing, Cary, is that every time someone says it to me, they think I'm hearing it for the first time. So don't be put out if he doesn't respond or say it to you anymore. But anyway, he's a wonderful man, and I had a lovely time working with him. Yeah.
That's so surprising. It's impossible to imagine anybody else in that role.
Inconceivable.
I remember him actually from Heaven Help Us, where he actually played a very similar character. It was a comedy about a Catholic boys' school where he was
that's right.
priest and headmaster. And he had lines that were a similar kind of character.
He's a wonderful actor.
You mentioned Billy Crystal too. Wow.
Yeah, that's great. How great is Billy? Well, I grew up, by the way, in England, and but I got a chance to come to the States when I was about 5, and we grew up in England where we had 2 TV channels. 2. Can you believe that? I know it's hard to imagine. That's how old I am. But when I got to the States at 5, you guys already had 100 channels. 100. That blew my tiny bourgeois mind wide open. I couldn't believe it. My parents were so happy because the kids were just quiet all day. We woke up to the TV and we fell asleep to the TV. I mean, you know, that's a normal thing here, right? Anyway, so I grew up watching a lot of American shows. So I'd seen Billy doing a great show called Soap. You ever seen it? And I'd seen one obviously on SNL. I'd seen Chris Guest on SNL. But I was so in awe of Billy. And Billy and Rob Reiner are best friends. And when I heard Billy was coming to shoot, I said to Rob, I said, oh, that's so great. I'm so excited to meet him. Can I go say hi? He goes, yeah, he's in the makeup trailer. Go say hi. So I went to the makeup trailer where he was getting made up to the American Max. And I go in there, and he's sitting in front of the mirror, and he introduces himself, and he's so sweet, generous, and lovely. And he's got 2 photographs on the mirror in front of him while he's being made up. And one picture is of his grandmother, and the other is of Casey Stengel, the Yankees manager. And I said, Billy, what's that? He goes, that's Miracle Max. My grandmother and Casey Stengel. And sure enough, I watched him become Miracle Max. As he put all the makeup on, and they gave him the wig and the eyebrows and the cataract contact lenses and the varicose veins on his hands. By the time he was finished, he started getting into character. He started like coughing like this. He started to talk like Miracle Max. So I watched him get into character as Miracle Max, and he stayed in character. And he turns to me and goes, you want to get something to eat? I go, absolutely. He said, give me 5 minutes. And I ran to my trailer to get ready. And I already had makeup done. And I put on my costume, and I met him at the cafeteria on the studio lawn. And it's much like a high school cafeteria. And we both got trays, right? I'm thinking this is going to be great. You know, I got to see this. He takes the tray as Miracle Max. He goes down the line, and he comes across the lady behind the counter. He goes, it's the shepherd's pie. Is it spicy? Like that. And she goes, not particularly, sir. He goes, you don't know my colon. And that's what he was like all afternoon. All the way to the set, saying things like that to the valet guy, everybody, right? And we get to the set to shoot the scene, and again, this is like the easiest day's work for me, because I'm pretending to be mostly dead lying on a slab, right? And again, Rob comes up and goes, yeah, we're just going to shoot the rehearsal. But Cary, you've got to remember not to breathe, because I can see your chest moving on the monitor, so you're supposed to be mostly dead. I said, but for how long? He goes, don't worry, we won't kill you. And he walked over to Billy, and he whispered something in his ear. And I didn't find out until 30 years later when I interviewed Rob for my book. I said, Rob, what was it that you said to Billy in his ear right before we started rolling? He goes, you remember that? I go, yeah. He goes, I'll tell you what I said. I said, just go for it. Now I'm thinking to myself, Billy's already in character. What's he gonna do, right? So the first AD yells, rolling, and Rob says, action. And Billy launches into 3 hours of medieval Yiddish stand-up, nothing to do with this. Now, some of it was blue. There are kids here, I can't repeat it all. But for you adults, you can figure it out. It involved Vikings and sheep and that kind of thing. You know. Anyway, but, I mean, he just ruined the take completely. Rob was screaming, laughing, right? And they yelled cut, and the sound guy came up to Rob Reiner and goes, sorry, Governor, you'll have to leave the set. And Rob said, what do you mean? I'm the director. How am I going to leave the set? He goes, well, we'll put you outside, sir. They set up his monitor outside the soundstage because his laugh was so loud in the hallway. So now they go back to more medieval Yiddish stand-up for the next take, right? And Billy decides it's my turn. And he starts like focusing on me. And of course I'm gone within 2 minutes. And they replaced me with a rubber dummy, the one that Fezzik's carrying around in the forest. A little wide shot there. That's my rubber stand-in. Anyway, then he turned to Mandy. And God bless him, you know, Andre couldn't understand what he was saying anyway. He just had a lovely smile on his face. But Mandy said the only injury he got on the film was a bruised rib from trying to hold in his laugh, which I didn't know you could do. And that that was our first and only day with Billy. How about that?
You know, I remember that period of your career, you were mostly playing good guys.
Yes.
Really up until Twister, right? And
Right.
so that was kind of the first time I ever saw you play kind of the bad guy.
Right.
And you were great. God, you were annoying. I could not wait for Bill Paxton to smack you.
Thank you. I think that was the point.
That was the point, wasn't it? It's like, you son of a bitch. From Bill.
Right.
You know, of course, you know, I know we got a lot of Bill Paxton fans.
Billy was very special.
And of course, we lost him last
Yeah, we lost Billy. He was a wonderful guy. Yeah, he was a wonderful guy. When I arrived, and we shot in Oklahoma, in Ponca City, and in Norman. And yeah, they got a couple of Ponca City fans. And Oklahoma, beautiful place. If you've ever been, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Lovely people. Very lovely, lovely, lovely. Opening their homes to us and welcoming us in ways that are just so sweet. Anyway, we get down there, and we met by Billy, my wife and I. And Billy says to us when we get out of the car at the hotel, he goes, "No time to unpack, buddy. Let's go shopping. You need to get some cowboy stuff." And he makes us pile into his car, and he drives us to one of those Western stores where they sell cowboy boots, and he decked us out in cowboy hats and big giant belt buckles and cowboy boots. He goes, "Now you're ready for Oklahoma, buddy." He couldn't have been more sweet. He gave us a tour of the area and everything. He was just the sweetest guy, and we miss him to this day. He was really a lovely, lovely man, and a great loss. Yeah.
Well, why don't we, before we get too far out of time, let's go to the audience and get some questions.
Hi, what's your name?
Joey,
Hi, Joey.
as much as I love you with The Princess Bride, one of my favorite films you ever did was Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, thank you.
Please describe anything from working with Gary Oldman or Anthony Hopkins or
Yeah.
the director himself, anything.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Anything, any stories on the set?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, that was an incredible film. We got to work with the great Francis Ford Coppola, of course, and that was a great thrill. I'm a huge fan and always will be. And, he brought us up to Napa to his ranch, and we rehearsed there. Gary Oldman, being the wonderful actor that he is. Yeah, how great is Gary? Gary slept in a coffin every night. That's how dedicated. No, for real. And he showed it to me. He goes, "That's bedtime, that's my bed, right there." And he's the sweetest guy. We had the most amazing time. I mean, Francis would set up theater games for us in Napa. He filmed us all waking up, and we would wake up to cameras because he would document everything. And he wanted us all to bond as the characters. So obviously Gary was all alone. He wasn't allowed to bond with anyone. He was Dracula. But all the rest of the groups were separated into little small parties of 4 and 5. And like myself and Bill Campbell and Richard E. Grant, we would go out and he would set up events where he'd take us ballooning and stuff. I had great fun. I mean, really fun stuff. Only stuff that Coppola could come up with, right? And Tom Waits, who was hilarious. I just, yeah, give it up for Tom. It was a really, really fascinating shoot, and Francis wanted to prove to the studio that he could bring it in under budget and on time. And so he filmed the whole thing on sound stages. I think the only scene in the film where we're outside is when we used the Universal lot to film London in the Victorian times, where you see Dracula following Mina through the streets of London. That's the only outside shot we had. The rest of the whole movie was indoors, which was amazing. And yeah, it was a great thrill for me, obviously. I got to work with Hopkins and all these wonderful actors, so it was a great thrill. Hopkins would always tease me. He would, right before a take, he would turn to me and go, he would pretend to be, do you guys ever see the old Peter Sellers Pink Panther movies? Yeah. He would pretend to be Herbert Long. He would go, "Clutho, I kill you, eat it, kill you." And he would make me laugh because he did the accent perfect. And he would do that right before I had to do a line. It's crazy, yeah.
Let's go here.
Hi.
Hi, Cary.
What's your name?
My name is Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Of all those movies and the roles that you've favorite movie that you've done, and do you prefer playing villains or heroes?
You know, I don't really think in terms of the character in black and white, whether they're good, bad, or hero, or villain, or anything like that. I try not to be too one-dimensional that way. I try to think of them in terms of gray areas. Yeah. But if you have to play somebody who's got issues, they usually have better dialogue. You know, it's funny. British actors, talking of villains, we get to play villains a lot. I think, you know, it's something to do with our accent. When Alan Rickman did that fabulous role in Die Hard, how great! Great villains of all time. And he, thank God, opened the door for all of us to play villains because he was so good that a lot of casting agents were like, "What? Okay, give me another British actor." And so, yeah, so I did get a lot of roles like that. But I never, like I said, I don't try to judge the role. I find that if I judge him, then I've prejudged him for the audience. So I try and find the humanity in the role, and that's not the key for me. But I pick a movie based on the criteria of what I'd like to see the film, and even if I wasn't in it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So that's my goal, to find work like that. Thank you, Jeff.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Emma McIntosh.
What? What's your name?
My name is Emma.
Hi, how are you?
And
How old are you?
I'm 11 years old.
11. My daughter's 11.
Wow.
What's your question?
Okay, so I know my favorite line from the movie. So what's yours? What's your favorite line from the movie?
My favorite line in The Princess Bride?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, I have a very strange one. My favorite line is, "Anybody want a peanut?" Can I get a hug from you? Let's see if I can do this in a dignified Great.
Hi,
What's your
I'm
name?
Robin. Huge fan.
Thank you. What's your name?
Robin, like
Hi,
the
Robin.
bird. This is so loud.
Hi.
Huge fan of Stranger Things, too.
Thank you.
I am so rocked that you're going to be on the show. I just- A few Q&As with the cast recently, and they didn't
Yes.
give away a thing.
No.
So, wow. But Wallace Shawn, oh my gosh, yes, what a doll. I spent some time with him a couple years ago. He said that he never ever will.
I'm sorry, can you speak up? I can't hear you.
Oh yes, I just feel like this is bouncing back at me. Wallace Shawn said he never ever wants to say the line inconceivable
Yes.
ever again.
I know.
And I was wondering if there was ever a phrase or a scene that you had ever done in any film that you thought, oh God, please, I'm never going to do that again.
Well, I got to play a serial killer once. I don't think I want to spend time doing that. It's a bad headspace to be in. And yeah, that would probably be the last time I ever do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
What's your name?
My Ariel.
Hi, Ariana.
Hi. I have a lot of respect for you and your career. I'm a big fan. And don't worry, my question has nothing to do with any characters that are dead and buried.
Okay.
But I was asking because like many years ago, when I was like younger, I was still a huge fan of yours. I saw you on TV on Celebrity Ghost Stories.
Oh, yeah.
And I was wondering, like, do you have any other cool ghost stories?
I only had the one
Just the
ghost
one?
encounter. That
Okay, then I
dog.
have one more.
You want to hear the story? Okay, I was 7 years old, and I was on vacation in Spain with my father. And we were staying in an old 15th century castle. And that right there was probably a bad idea. And the combination of the storm and the castle was was really terrifying, because in Spain, where we were, in the southern part of Spain, the storms come into this canyon where we were staying, and they were really powerful, loud thunder. And my father had put me in a room by myself in the castle, which, again, I was very concerned about. And we had to run across the courtyard in pouring, pelting rain, really strong rain. And I'll never forget, he made me put my jacket over my head, and then we counted to 3, and then we ran across the courtyard to this little closet, basically, that had a bed in it. And we went in there, and it had no lights, because in Spain in those days, every time a storm came through, it would just knock the entire electricity out for the whole city. Yeah? And so we had a candle, and my father lit it, and then he kissed me goodnight and said, "Don't worry, if you count, do the counting thing with the storm, every time you hear the thunder, if you count, you can count if it's going further away." And I thought, okay, that's fine. So he left me, and I started counting, and I realized it wasn't going away. It was actually getting closer. And I noticed there was this portrait staring at me in the closet, and it was some really weird, strange-looking old Spanish person staring at me. And every time the lightning hit, it illuminated this horrible face, and I went and covered it with a towel. And then finally, the storm was right over the castle, and the lightning hit, and the window blew open, and of course the candle went out. Now I'm freaking out. I've got the matches. I'm 7 years old trying to light the candle. And another piece of lightning hits, and I look out the window, and I swear to God, I saw, I didn't want to see this, believe me, so I'm not telling you something to make it up for any reason. I don't want you guys to think I'm insane, but I saw a skeleton with a Spanish helmet on, and he was holding a spear. You guys are in Tampa, you're here near Orlando, so you've been to Disneyland, most of you. The Pirates of the Caribbean, you know the guy in the beginning who's holding it, right, in the storm? It was that guy. Only in the Spanish galleon's helmet, that whole thing. I gotta tell you, they could have heard my scream in Denmark. I screamed so loud, and I ran across the courtyard in the dark, in the rain, and God bless my father, he said, you don't have to sleep there today. But that was my one, and thankfully only, a ghostly encounter in my life. I hope to God I never have another. There was apparently a battle, not surprisingly, that took place, I found out later, at that castle. And I think that was one of the residents who didn't take it. Hi, how are you? What's your name?
Hi, I'm Brandy.
Hi, Brandy.
I'm so nervous. This is the first time I've ever done this.
It's
But
okay.
I absolutely love you.
Thank you.
Princess Bride is great, and I love that movie, but my favorite movie that you've been in is probably
Thank
It's just amazing.
Thank you.
What is your favorite part of the movie, and how is it working on a movie with Mel Brooks?
Well, Mel, gosh, was a laugh a second. He really was. I can't remember a day without laughter, honestly. There was a moment when I was a little nervous. When I had to shoot the scene where I fire a bullseye with my bow and arrow, I didn't know I was supposed to do it for real. Mel never mentioned anything like that. I thought it was going to be CGI. And my fault for not asking him beforehand, because when we came to shoot it, he goes, "Okay, we have 10 minutes before lunch. We need this bullseye, let's go." And I said, "Mel, I haven't had any practice." He goes, "Don't worry, we'll get it." That was the look on my face when I said that. It's 400 people waiting for me to get this bullseye because they're all like ready for lunch, right? So now the first take, I mean, it obviously was never gonna hit, you know, I think I hit a cat in a tree. The second one went behind me, the third one went straight up in the air. And Mel's off camera going, "Don't worry, you'll get it, you'll get it." And I'm thinking, this is crazy, what am I, you know? So finally, on the 5th take, I actually hit a bullseye. And if you go back and look at the film, you can see the complete look of shock. And literally, after I delivered my line, Mel went, Okay, that's lunch. Hi,
Hi,
what's your name?
Alyssa.
Hi, Alyssa.
Hi. So I have a question about an older role, and that would be, do you like bubbles?
What?
Do you like bubbles?
Do I like bubbles? What? Yes, I guess. Bubble baths.
This is more of, sorry, I got distracted. It was aligned more towards Bobby Wobbly.
Who?
Don't play that.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Bobby, I was gonna ask, how did you end up with the role for Bobby Wobbly?
Bobby Wobbly, oh, Bobby Wobbly, right. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Really appreciate it. You came to my booth and brought that up, didn't you? Oh, I know. You were just waiting or following me around to remind me of the greatest role I ever played. Thank you. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. It was not my finest hour on film.
How did you even land
How
that?
did I land that role? Desperation, I believe. But thank you, I appreciate it. Let's move on, shall we? Hi. What's your name?
My name's Vanessa. I'm a
Hi.
huge fan of your work in the Saw movies.
Thank you.
I actually had two questions.
Yes.
My first question was, how was it working with Tobin Bell in the Saw movies?
Tobin, amazing. Well, Tobin was incredibly focused. Got to remember, for the most part of the film, he was laying on the ground in a pool of blood. And that, by the way, was not easy because if you lay down on the ground for a long period of time on a flat concrete surface, it can actually get quite painful after a while. So we would have to stop shooting and allow him to get up and walk around so he could get some blood flowing, you know. But he was wonderful in the role. He really was the perfect guy to play Jigsaw. And we had a great time shooting. We shot it in 18 days, if you can believe that. Yeah, we never sat down. There was no chairs on the set or nothing. We averaged about 15 pages of dialogue a day. So we would carry if you look at the film, you can probably see a padding in my pocket of my pants. I would keep all my pages in my pants so I could refer to them quickly before the take. But yeah, James Wan was a terrific director. And obviously you know his work now. You've seen The Fast and Furious, and he's got Aquaman coming out very soon. Wonderful, yeah. Give it up for James. Very meticulous, very, very methodical director. I remember meeting him for the first time and to discuss the role, and he showed up with an artist's canvas book filled with artwork. And I said, "What's in that?" And he showed me. He opened it up, and inside were all these drawings and paintings that he'd done himself, watercolors of the sets, like the bathroom set. He designed it himself, the pig costume for Jigsaw. And then I turned the page and I saw a blueprint for the reverse bear trap thing, right, that Shawnee wears in the film. And I said to him, "What's that?" He goes, "That's a bear trap that one of the characters gets killed in." And I said, "Wow, it looks very detailed." And he goes, "Oh yeah, it's operational." And that's when I realized this guy was dead serious about detail, you know. And that's who he is. He's just a wonderful, wonderful artist and a wonderful filmmaker. So I was very lucky.
And then I wanted to ask, do you know if there are any more Saw movies?
I don't know. They didn't put me in the last one, which was very strange.
Yeah, that made me upset because it didn't
Thank
go
you.
with the story. Here's Dr. Lawrence.
Right? What happened to Lawrence? I know, he just vanished. I know, I don't know what to tell you. Strange things happen in Hollywood. You know, I get to play Wobbly Wobbly. Strange things happen.
Well,
Thank you.
I'm afraid we are running out of time. But so if we could do one, really quick, but we get one more at it.
Okay.
It's an easy one. So for all the psych fans out there, Courtney.
Hey, how you doing, Courtney?
Doing pretty great. So are we going to see Despero ever again?
Oh, man. Thank you. I don't know. Apparently, if they're making, they told me if they make another movie, TV movie, that they bring Despero back. So, if you guys write them emails to the producers, I'm sure they'll go to the network, USA, they might capitulate and make another one. So, I know, I'd love to do it. I love playing with those guys. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I was right over your head.
Oh, okay. Well, I got to. You're awesome, Jeff. That's a good question. Probably the best. That was the best question I got all night. That's what I thought he said.